Hey PowerAppers, my name is Robin and we will have so much fun together with animated SVGs in the coming episodes. Today we will look at a central component in every Power App, the menu. I have already created a new screen where we will create a new menu with other icons in there. This one will be a little bit COVID themed because I found a lot of COVID icons, and I already have made a container with a canvas inside that has 5 cards, and we want to make it so that when we click on an icon then the card will change and you see only one card at a time in here. And I brought the menu from the other screen so we can look at it a few times and see what we need to do next. So at first we will need icons. Where do we get SVG icons? We can get them from anywhere in the internet. One of my favorite ways to get them is just to go into PowerPoint, and we will use these 5 icons right here, but you can choose anything you like from the pictograms. Let's take an angry face and a ruler, and bring it in here, and from there on you need to export every single one of them and save it as a graphic. Here you need to choose SVG, and we will call this menu 0 to menu 4. So let's take a look at our icons. I want to take a closer look at this one because it has these straight things, and we want to look into the text file and learn a little bit about the SVGs, how they are composed. I will open it with Notepad++, and then we have to look carefully through these things right here. And the first part that is important, you can of course mix SVGs of different sources, but it is easiest when they all have the same size. So all of these PowerPoint SVGs have a size of 96 times 96 pixels. And then they are composed of different paths, or sometimes rectangles or circles. So we see 3 different paths right here, and this one are the lines of the graph, and we can simply remove them and see what happens. So as you can see, these have vanished because we deleted this path. That was the old one. So we can bring it back in. What we need to do next is to replace all the double quotes to single quotes. You can press Ctrl H and just put it in here, replace double quote with single quote. Then we will take the inner path without the SVG tags and copy all of them together and bring it to PowerApps. You can store these SVG icons everywhere. What I usually do is put them on variables or on one variable. I will call this icons COVID, and we'll call this one menu 1, was it? Paste everything in here and we need to make double quotes around here. So I will do this for all the 5 icons. So you can see we now have a really long wall of SVG paths, and we will load this now into the variable. I already created an empty SVG image which with the outline right here, and it just has everything that we need to display an SVG. And now we see if it works. Var icons COVID is our variable, and then we have the menu 0, and we see our virus, flatten the curve, wash your hands, wear face masks, and long COVID is what I call it. So our icons already work. As you can see, that was not that much trouble. The next thing that we will do is to create a collection for our menu. I will call this icons. Then we need a new button for the collection. Of course, you can do all this in your onStart property, but in this app it's already messy enough, so I stored it here. Or you can put it in the onVisible of your screen if the menu is only on one page. So this is for our collection. Clear collect. And what we need is a position of the item. The first one has 0. Then we need a name, the icon, and we are not in a gallery, so we can't use isSelected. So we will make a property that is called selected, so that it knows where this bar needs to be and which one has full opacity. So we will set the first one to true and the other ones to false in the beginning. And we need to know which was last selected. And yeah, we will also set this to true. We will need this because we need to know where the bar comes from. So when I switch from this icon to this, then the bar travels from the last selected to the current selected item. And I will do this for all the other ones. So this is our menu. Let's click on the collect button, and yeah, so we have it in this collection right now. Need to define the positions. Click on the button again. And now we will leverage again and again and again while doing this animated SVGs. We will leverage the Concat command. We will use our menu collection, COVID menu, and we want to display our icons right now. And oh yeah, made another mistake. So now I created a mess, all items stacked on top of each other. So what we do next is spread them out. We want to translate every item to the next spot, but every icon is composed of different paths, so we need to group them first. And we will do this by with a group tag, and then we have the icons right here, and a closing the group tag. And you see nothing has changed. I will probably bring the whole... But what we can do now is do some things for all of the paths in here. So we want to, like I said, transform, translate, and the first value is the translation in the X direction and the second in the Y direction. So we just need the first one because we want to spread them out to the right. So when we type in 100 here, then all the icons moved by 100 pixels to the right. But we want every icon on another on a different spot, so we will do as you may remember, we defined the positions. So we take position, that's why we started with 0. So the first one is at the left. Position times 120, so they are spaced out a little bit. Yeah, and that is the start of our menu. And before we move on to the animations, we will create the rectangle, the bar that moves from there to there. So we create a rectangle. With the properties of x equals 0, so we start at the left. Y equals, y starts at the top, so we need to go around 100, let's try 100 pixels. We need to put everything in single quotes, and we need a width of 100. The icons are 96 pixels wide. Yeah, we can actually use 96 right here. And a height, let's try 10, and close the rectangle. Yeah, looks all right. Probably 12. Yeah, looks a little better. In the video about the maps, I got a comment if it is somehow possible to click on the SVG on some part and get a response from PowerApps. But sadly, that only works with JavaScript in internet browsers. So we don't have that and we can't do that, but we will help ourselves and cheat a little bit. We will put in a gallery. We will actually take a vertical gallery to make our life a little bit easier. So we set the wrap count to 5. So we get 5 evenly distributed entries. Put this right here and bring in buttons that we can use. So we have our 4 buttons because we didn't set this one to our COVID collection. Now we have 5 entries, 5 buttons. I'll leave them at this size right now so we can see what is going on. But later we will make them transparent and move them right over the icons right here. The text will be, it doesn't really matter because we won't see it in the end, but again, to make our lives a little bit easier, we will name them 0 to 4, same as the positions right here. And as the onSelect properties, we will patch our collection. And we will use this item and say that it is now selected. And we will also patch the currently selected item and tell them that it's not selected anymore. So we do a quick lookup. So now we get the selected one and we say you are not selected anymore, but you are last selected. We will look at this in a second, bring a label in here. To see what's going on, we will do S for selected and show selected right here. So we see the number 0 is selected per definition in our collection, and we will use another label for the last selected. And per definition, this one was the last selected. What is missing right here? This is wrong. And this is missing. Okay, so when we hit this one should be selected and this one should be the last selected. When we hit this one should become selected and this one last selected, and so on. As you can see, we forgot one thing, to tell them not to be last selected anymore. So we will search for the last selected first and tell it that it's not the last selected anymore. Let's reload our collection and see if it works. Seems to work as expected. We will keep these labels for 1 second and start with the animations. So at first we will make the bar down here moving. So this was our rectangle. And what we need to do is to put the animation inside of the rectangle text, and this works as follows, that we have to close the rectangle tag right here, double quotes. And our animation goes in here. Command for animation is not too complicated. It's animate attribute name, and you can animate lots of things. Attribute name we want to animate here is the X property. And next thing, we need to tell the values. You can either say from value to value, or you just specify values. And what we do now is just test this with the first value being 0 and the second one being 100. Next thing is the duration. This is 1 second, and the repeat count. Yeah, we will, for now to look at it, we will use indefinite, but later on we will change that to 1, and then we close the animation. And as you can see, this one moves in the time span of 1 second, 100 pixels to the right. But we don't want to move it 100 pixels to the right, but we want to move it from the last selected to the selected. So we make a lookup on our collection. And we look for last selected, and we want the position, and multiply this with 100, and then we bring in the next value and say we want the selected one, and have it's not times 100, it's times 120 as up here. So now the bar moves in 1 second from the last selected to the selected. So if we choose something else, then it moves from the last selected to the selected one. And as I said, we don't want to do this indefinite, but once. And then we want to specify that this one doesn't have a normal X attribute of 0, but it stays at the selected one. So we copy this part again and make it like this. So now we have this effect that we were looking for. Of course, you can play around with the duration. If 1 second is too long, you can put in half a second. And if you want a steady movement speed, yeah, you have to create a formula so it tracks how many spaces it needs to go. Everything is possible, but we will take it to 1 second again, not too fast, not too slow for our purposes. And the last effect that we want is the opacity. So let's look at this one again. So all the icons that are not selected are 50% transparent. Up here are our icons, and we will define this inside of the group. And we will use an if selected. We will start with opacity equals if selected, then 1, and if not selected 0.5, and close single quote. Okay, and then we will use another animation, and this time just for the opacity. and bring this, copy this up here to the opacity, and then we want it to go from 1 to 0. Now everything goes from 1 to 0, from 0.5 to 1. But we have 3 cases. Then this is the selected one. Then we want to go it from 0.5 to 1 when it is the last selected. Then we switch it around from 1 to 0.5. And all the other ones just stay at 0.5 all the time. There is an ampersand missing. Okay, let's look at this, and then we do the last thing as I promised. We will get rid of those, make these roughly the size of the icons, make every color that you find transparent. Looking good. And this is our finished animated menu. And then I will quickly set the visible properties of the cards so we can see the effect. Another look up for our COVID menu. We will search for the selected and want the position. And if this is 0, then this one is visible. So we go to the next. This is visible when it's 1. To the next. Visible when it's 2. To the next. Visible when it's 3. And to the last one, that is visible when it's 4. I need to get rid of the scroll bar. Got the wrong card there. And now we have our menu. Was the last thing that we need to fix now is that sometimes it jumps because it already knows the finished animation and doesn't load it new. The way I fix this is to put a variable on my buttons, the variable refresh, and put this to second of now. Just give the SVG something to do, so it has to load new. This is my gallery. I need to get into the SVG. Image property. And so we just put in a circle right here. That is somewhere where we can't see it. So cx equals minus 1000, cy equals minus 1000. Doesn't really matter. And r equals var refresh. So every second there's another value in the var refresh, another R value, and it has to reload the SVG even though this is not in the visible range. So again, now it loads every time. If you like the animated menu, please hit that thumbs up button. Would really appreciate it if you leave some comments with what you're gonna do with these animations in SVGs. And if you don't want to miss the next episodes, subscribe to my channel. This is it for today. See you next time.